Most of our society is still in denial. People don't want to accept that things are never coming back to normal. In fact, there is no normal anymore. The new version of normal includes persistent disruptions, a decaying economy plagued by hyperinflation, and shortages that never seem to go away. For months, experts have been warning us that shortages are only getting worse. Industry after industry is deeply hurting, and executives say that there's no end in sight for the supply chain crisis. To make things worse, the vast majority of our manufacturers are extremely reliant on technology to keep their operations running, which has become pretty standard in our modern world. But due to a global chip shortage, thousands of industries are now struggling to increase production to meet demand. And we're being told this is just the beginning. In January, many were expecting the global semiconductor shortages to be over by the end of 2021. Here we are at the end of the year, and so far, things have gone from bad to worse. Even the corporate media is alarmed by the fact that one of the core parts for global production is simply missing everywhere. The Wall Street Journal recently published a piece entitled "The Global Chip Shortage is Far From Over as Wait Times Get Longer," in which it revealed that companies are facing extended delays to get the chips they need to make their machines and their products work. Waiting periods for chip deliveries have continued to escalate above a healthy limit of 9 to 12 weeks throughout the entire year. During the summer months, the wait was extended to 19 weeks on average, according to Susquehanna Financial Group. By the beginning of October, it has ballooned to 22 weeks, and now it is even longer for the scarcest parts, up to 25 weeks for power management components and 38 weeks for the microcontrollers that the auto industry needs, the firm reported. These are numbers we have never seen before. It's an unprecedented situation for the auto industry, and it has become particularly worrying for other industries as well, given that now millions of products need chips to function. We're rapidly getting to a point where waiting times can't even be measured in weeks anymore. In the WSJ article, one company owner exposed that one order he has placed at the beginning of the year is still unfulfilled, and he'll probably only get the parts his company needs by 2022. Manuel Schoenfeld, the owner of the New York-based firm PowerX, placed the order in May for transmission chips for his company's utility monitoring devices. He was told the chips would arrive by summer, then fall, then winter, and now he doesn't expect to get them until May 2022. This is far from over, Mr. Schoenfeld said. The truth is that the global semiconductor shortage shows no sign of easing, and in the meantime, the automotive industry continues to face a crunch like no other, with many of the biggest car makers in the world blaming the shortage for disappointing financial results. Last week, Volkswagen and Stellantis said the lack of chips remains a major problem for them. It was a challenging quarter, VW CEO Herbert Diess said in an interview. Given the turn of events, another executive is warning that the shortage will not only impact quarterly results. The shortages are going to continue indefinitely, said Brandon Kulik, head of Deloitte's semiconductor industry practice. Certainly we're not talking about quarters, we're talking about years. The question is, how bad does it have to get before people start waking up? The entire global economic system is experiencing severe disruption on a widespread basis. But most people still refuse to accept that this is our new reality. They want to believe that things will sort themselves out and everything is going to work out just fine, somehow. But the imbalances happening are affecting everyone, whether they see it or not. One example of it is car prices. Now, considering that the scarcity of chips has collapsed new car production, and car dealers around the country are seeing their inventories drop to alarmingly low levels, consumers have been turning to the used car market. Consequently, as demand has skyrocketed in recent months, used car prices just hit absolutely insane levels. With far fewer new cars hitting the market over the past 12 months, prices for used cars have jumped by more than 24% in the US, and consumers are engaging in bidding wars that have been pushing those prices even higher. For instance, one 2019 Honda Civic that started off a used car auction earlier this month would have been nothing special before this whole supply chain mess began. But as automotive dealer Brad Wimmer described, the online bidding quickly became, to quote him, bananas. Typically, the Civic would have had a sticker price of roughly $21,000. But within seconds at the wholesale auction, the 2-year-old model with over 4,000 miles was sold for $27,200. Wimmer, the owner of the dealer Auto Lenders, revealed in an interview with the Washington Post that soon after, a Nissan Rouge fetched what it would have cost new in 2018. A 3-year-old Toyota Camry with large dents and scratches on its hood sold for $14,200, nearly twice what it would have brought just a few years ago. And a 2015 Kia Sorento sold for $12,600, a staggering amount for a 6-year-old car with 83,000 miles. In his view, such sky-high prices have become the new normal at the weekly auction, where dealerships around the nation buy and sell used cars. He alerted, it's gonna be really tough for consumers to buy a vehicle in 2022, a used or a new car. You're gonna have to pay a very high sticker price, he alerted. There's a similar phenomenon happening with farm equipment. Since the chip shortage has broken down production, farmers are turning to used equipment to fulfill their needs. Just like we're witnessing with used cars, many pieces of used farm equipment are now selling for simply insane prices. According to farm equipment dealer Joel Everett, one used 2009 John Deere tractor was at a recent auction in Strawberry Point, Iowa for tens of thousands of dollars more than its regular price when it was brand new. Bought new for $109,000, the tractor sold for $143,000 at auction, he said. It's not an isolated incident, Everett added. He revealed that a lot of farm equipment, especially used tractors, are being sold for 30% to 50% more than it was 2 years ago at his auction house. It's been unreal, Everett said. Our last sale was the biggest dollar sale we ever had, and we're fixing to have another in 3 to 4 weeks. That's gonna blow that one away. Quality farm equipment is getting increasingly hard to find amid the ongoing supply chain shortage. Several farmers and experts say that the scarcity of semiconductors is driving prices to record highs and raising questions about whether farmers' harvests and next year's planting season could be affected. Of course, all of those increased costs for farm equipment will ultimately result in higher food prices. Already, food prices are rocketing at a very brisk pace. Bloomberg recently reported that global food costs have shot up by a third over the past year, and this remarkable jump in the price of food to a decade high risks leading to even more expensive grocery bills, and the energy crisis is threatening to make things even worse. Crop failures, harvest setbacks, rising consumer demand, and prolonged supply chain disruptions have all contributed to this painful increase. And the latest spike has affected almost all types of foodstuffs, adding to inflationary pressures across the entire economy. The Bloomberg article explained that soaring energy bills are now adding to the problem. escalating costs of producing fertilizers and transporting goods around the world, and making the run-up more reminiscent of the price spike seen during food crises in 2008 and 2011. The energy rally could also prompt more crops to be diverted from food to making biofuels, the UN warned. On Thursday, Reuters reported that FAO's Food Price Index, which tracks international prices of the most globally traded food commodities, averaged 130 points last month, the highest reading since September 2011, according to the agency's data. The market monitor added that the current supply tightness in global wheat markets must also be assessed in light of important and fast-changing developments in energy markets and supply chain logistics. Easing restrictions are likely to boost prices of oil, gas, and as a result, fertilizer. In addition, port congestions, such as those witnessed recently in China and the United States, are also a concern, contributing to supply chain disruptions, which, along with elevated freight rates, might add more volatility to wheat prices and increase import costs, which would be a particular burden for the low-income households and low-wage workers. This means that some turbulent times are coming. Economists have been warning that hyperinflation is right at the corner, and once we turn that corner, things will never be the same. In our globalized world, all industries are interconnected. That's why the semiconductor shortage is hitting food prices notably hard. If we heard what the experts have been trying to tell us, we wouldn't be in such a precarious situation right now. Day after day, more people come forward to expose the empty shelves that they see on a regular basis. And as food supplies get tighter, we're going to see even more shortages erupt in the months ahead, and price hikes will be particularly painful. Over the past few weeks, industry insiders repeatedly warned that this is going to be the most expensive Thanksgiving ever, while store shelves keep getting emptier and emptier. This is happening all over the country, but authorities continue to insist that nothing is going on. Okay, here's a fun fact. In the USDA website, they've added a section specifically telling us that there are no nationwide shortages of food, although in some cases, the inventory of certain foods at your grocery store might be temporarily low before stores can restock. Well, the USDA has put the final word on the matter, so that's basically it. We're sorry for alarming you with warnings that came from skilled industry experts and the facts we have presented throughout this video. A government agency has spoken, so what we actually see and experience every day is nothing but imagination, right? We know that the government always tells us the truth, right? So, everything is fine now, and you can go back to sleep. Jokes aside, don't you think it's particularly annoying when they deny our problems exist or say it's all temporary? What does that even mean? People need to eat today, not in a couple of months, not in a couple of years. If the government refuses to admit the struggles we're all facing, this means we're on our own. To be honest, we have always been on our own. So we can't afford to ignore the signs that are telling us that things will only get harder from now on. We must wake up and start acting before it's too late. To learn more about the devastating crisis we are entering into, we strongly recommend you to check 7-Year Apocalypse, written by the economist Michael Snyder. Thank you very much for watching. Keep tuned for the next video.